G'day guys, Nollsie here and welcome to another episode of Idle Talking with Nollsie. Today we're chatting with one of Australia's favourite acts. Tim, would you like to introduce the boys, please?
Fantastic act. Arguably Australia's hardest working act. Now, a lot of bands make that claim, but these guys have just done a massive 60-show tour right across Australia in their tour bus, which we're certainly going to get to in this episode. They have put out 6 studio albums. Their latest album, Home, was released in February and has been at the top of various charts, which is fantastic. They have toured with AC/DC and Aerosmith and had hits on Triple J. They've been in the Triple J Hottest 100 6 times. Very impressive.
Awesome.
All their albums have charted really well. They've been played at events Splendour in the Grass, Boxing Day Test, State of Origin. So this is a very, very successful Australian act. They are Kingswood, and we have Fergus and Alex here from the band today.
Hey, g'day guys.
You left one off. We did play a festival with the great man himself.
Yeah, that was a ripper. That was, wasn't it?
I believe you were supposed to arrive on horseback, weren't you?
Yeah. The guys on the I think it was Will and Woody, wasn't it? Yeah, they said, "Oh, it'd be great if you could ride this horse into the ground, sort of thing," and everyone will go nuts. And there's this massive storm building,
Yeah,
and it's just sweeping across the paddock, and there's lightning and thunder. I said, "I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm getting on that horse, mate. It'll end up in the river or something like that, or on top of me, one of the two." So it was a bit of a hairy situation.
No, it was great fun. We are playing the last show of our tour on Saturday, and it's 100 shows. Oh, it's a bit more than 100.
My apologies for
So,
understating your commitment to touring.
That's amazing. Where have you been, boys, in this tour, the 100 shows? That's massive. When did you start?
Oh, we started in January at Tamworth at the festival, and we've been playing every weekend, sort of 4 to 5 nights a week, every weekend since. So we've kind of been everywhere. I mean, you name it, we've been there. We've been up to northwestern Australia. We did Broome down, Karratha, Exmouth, all the way down south to what was the most south part of WA there, Al?
Probably Albany.
Yeah.
Albany.
And the same on the east coast and all through Port Lincoln down to Victor Harbour and everywhere.
Wow, that's really impressive, guys. I'll tell you what, I remember back in the day after Idle, the touring was just insane. I think the first run we did was 11 shows in 10 days, going down driving from Cairns down to Toowoomba. But so wow, a few nights a week too, just absolutely grind you. How's the voice holding up, Fergus?
We both did all right, actually. Yeah, I think we just got really lucky and didn't have any dramas. What's the
Mate, there's no luck involved. We're like purebred stallions. We were made for this, Nollsie. We're pretty lucky. What are you talking about?
We don't look after a lot of whiskey, few durries and the voice is fine.
Awesome.
It's one of those theories that the more you think about something and worry about it, that it'll eventually come true. I can't remember who's Murphy's Law. I think it is.
Yeah.
So you just don't worry about it.
Just power of positive thinking, mate.
Just crack on, and you never get sick, and you never lose your voice.
That's right. There would have been a few hangovers, though, I would guess. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty constant.
You match fit then, guys, eh?
Mate,
yeah, that's right.
We call it piss fit, Nollsie.
That's exactly what it is, for sure.
We're absolutely good to go. This liver is rock solid physically.
Actually, Nollsie, you're quite a part of our tour life because doing this many shows, you can get tired and you can be pretty worn out. And one of our methods for ramping up before a show is telling each other that we need to lift, and often we play the song "Lift" to get jacked up. Yeah.
I love it. That's insane. Well, you definitely lifted, boys. I'll tell you what. I don't think there'd be anyone else in the business who would have done that many shows especially with this
Where-
much of the year left. That's for sure.
Yeah, probably not. But we do. We actually have a WhatsApp group, a band group called Lift. And
So European
especially, and like, if you
group.
think of the lyrics, Nollsie, it makes so much sense. Like, I know you're hurting, right? But you got to lift, mate. And
Absolutely.
that's what we do every night.
Oh, that's
No,
good.
no. To properly answer your question, I think the only other when we first set out this tour, a lot of people told us we were mad, and we had an interview with Dave Gleason, and he was like, "Fuck, you guys are touring like we did in the '80s," and we're like, "That's the idea, mate."
Yeah,
That's
great.
like, just like re-engaging with the remote and regional community and trying to inject like that sense of festivity and engagement and music on a human level, like especially as you know in this age of like streaming and digital service providers and everything's online, and we were just like, we're just not that band. We like doing it in real life and getting out and meeting people and saying g'day and seeing this beautiful country, and that's why we sort of hatched this mad plan to go from like Orange. I mean, we even did a lap of Bathurst in the fucking bus. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
That's before we blew it up. So
no, that's great. Yeah, I've always been of the thinking that you know, the regional people don't get to see a lot of acts, so when they do, they really come out and they really support anyone who's made the effort to go out to them instead of expecting, you know, like I've always said this, country people, it's it's a hotel room, it's 2 tanks of fuel, it ends up being like $1,000 sort of one night trip sort of thing, you know. So they sort of really appreciate when you make the effort to get out to them and play in their hometown, and plus it's so great for the communities too to have a night of celebration and you know and gathering together for a great reason, you know. So they're good on you guys. I think that's sensational. I'm
You're exactly right. That was one of the most rewarding things of doing this tour is, you know, if you play in the cities, you know, people have seen 3 bands that week already, and they'll go along. But it can become a real event for these towns.
Yeah, absolutely.
All pulls together and super grateful, and you know, and when the bus rolls into town, it's you know, the carnival's in town, and it's good fun. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's been rewarding.
Oh, that's sensational, guys. That's sensational. So, guys, tell us a little bit about the new album, Home. I had a bit of a listen. I like it. It's a little different, I think, a little bit more country than what you have done before.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's all I got to tell you.
Let's top the country charts.
I know, but Mercy is really Creedence-y, which I love. I love Creedence, so I reckon that's really cool.
We're always like we're absolutely a rock and roll band in our heart of hearts, and like we grew up on Creedence and like Eagles, and especially me. Like when Ferg and I have been in a band since we were like 12 years old. And the first cover we ever did was a Skinner tune at the school fair. So Skinner has been a huge influence on me, particularly, and all the guitar players like Ed King and Steve Gaines in that band. Yep. But having said that, like Skinner, along with many other of our loves, CCR, Eagles, all that stuff, is heavily influenced by like Jackson Browne, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young. All that stuff has been like the source of it all. And if you kind of dig through our catalog and you listen to stuff, we've got other songs that I won't go into, but there've always been a country lean in our albums that we just were like, why don't we just go all out on this one? Because that's the stuff we love the most. And we've all got funny little attachments to country music of different eras, you know? So I particularly love country music from the 60s and 70s.
Well, because God and Guns very that style of like old school cowboy song, eh?
Yeah, and that's sort of like that's my like little tribute to like artists like Tom T. Hall, like there's a bit of comedy in that, you know, like horse, as I always do, of course. Like,
I love
these
that,
guys for real. You know what I mean? It's like there was always a bit of mischief in that, and there's always mischief in all the country I love. Even if you listen to like early Dolly records or Tammy Wynette records, like Fifth City, you know. It's all that stuff has always got like there's a wink, you know, at the end of the sentence.
Absolutely. A little bit like the darkness. You don't know if they're taking the piss or not.
Obviously, and we love the darkness too. But that's the thing. There's like that character that's lost in a lot of music that is very much our spirit and our sense. Like we love mischief and mucking around and taking the piss. So
Yeah.
But obviously it's balance. You're not going to put out a fucking comedy record. You know
No, for sure. Yeah. It's a very fine line, but I think you nailed it. You nailed it with that one. I love that one when I heard it. It was awesome.
Oh, thanks, Nellie. That's awesome.
No, for sure. I think it's great. So, guys, you're off overseas next. Tell us a little bit about how many shows you're doing over there and whatnot.
Is it 25, 30 or something? We're there
it's extending. It'll probably be over 30.
Yeah.
Which will be great. It's nothing we're not used to.
We sort of base our European touring out of Germany and then get into the sort of surrounding countries. But we've got a little bit of a thing going in Germany. So we love getting back there. Very excited for some Wiener Schnitzel. And
cool.
Returning to two of our favourite places. And it's great fun. We'll have our little splitter van and drive around the countryside. And the only thing you got to be careful of is when we love to watch World War II in colour on Netflix, which is a great doco about World War II. And we watch it as we're driving around. You just got to make sure you turn it off when you pull up to the venue and open the doors. The Adolf isn't open the door.
Blasting in the background. Yeah. What's wrong with these kids?
Oh, that's gold. So, tell us a little bit about the bus.
So give him a tour. You're on it. Do a bit of
let's do that. That's cool. And we'll walk around.
All right. Well, this is the back area. This is the lounge. It is huge. There you go. Big television there. Kitchen and the bar. 2 bunks here. And then you're into the there's a little kitchenette, some closets. 4 bunks here. Yep. That's my bunk. That's Al's bunk. Then you come through this area, and this is where you sit when we're driving. Lovely seats. There's the record.
Yep.
And these move around. Fishing rods. And
cool.
2 more seats here. Toilet that you are not allowed to use, of course. And the big driver's seat here. So we live on it. It's a proper ordeal. And there's the outside. So we came up with the idea to do this tour, and then we sort of realised that if we're going to spend 6 months on the road, hotels and a van or 2 vans is going to be a pretty decent bill.
Yeah, absolutely.
To deal with. Yeah. So we thought, why don't we do it like you tour in sort of the States or in America? And it doesn't make sense here normally because when you're playing cities, it's just everything's too far apart. But if you're going town to town like we were, sometimes 2 hours away from the place we played the night before, it worked out really well. So we looked for a bus to rent, and there wasn't one. All the ones that existed got turned into motorhomes over COVID because they weren't being rented. Yeah, and then so this is where Al's madness is wonderful sometimes. And my job is to just say yes to whatever.
There's really no time that it isn't wonderful, is what he means to say.
Nellie. Yeah. And I just say yes.
So who's the driver?
We both got our heavy rigid licenses, so we both drive, just taking turns.
Sweet. Yeah, awesome.
But we bought it and we fitted it out ourselves. We bought it. It was an empty shell, and we built it, and now it's available for touring bands or anything to use as well.
For Nollsie's next great tour. At a heavily discounted rate.
Yeah. You can bring the whole family on. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's sensational. I always loved the idea of the tour buses over in the States and that sort of thing. But, of course, they sort of pull up in a city and get a hotel room and they travel through the night sort of thing while everyone's sort of asleep. So you guys literally just turn up and living out of the bus everywhere you went?
Yeah, pretty much. Even when we did get hotel rooms provided at some pubs, you'd find it sleeping on the bus anyway.
Yeah, you get used to it, I suppose, eh?
Yeah. So one of the jobs was trying to find a shower, every day, and it was pretty easy. A lot of venues have them, green rooms and stuff like that. So pretty cruisy.
Mate, those are full-blown Sheely Posturepedic mattresses, Nollsie. You don't get a better sleep down on the bus.
I love it. That sounds great.
Close your curtain, and you've got your little air conditioner on, and you're in we call it the womb.
That's great. You be cozy as in. There's a bucket of rugged.
A lot of kick-ons back here on the bus too. There's been some fun nights.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what?
That's the next question for sure.
You know what the most fun thing is that you can Uber Eats to the window.
That's great. How good's
And,
that?
Yeah.
and no matter how many times I knock on the door, like just to make a point of it, it's like, no, come to the window. Because we're in the back lounge and we want to be as like, what do you call it? Indulgent as we can be.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. I love that. I'll have to check it out one time if we're in the same area. Sometimes I'd love to see the bus. That'd be terrific. Absolutely. So, guys, tell us a little bit going back now. So, Alex, you're saying before you've known Ferg for a very long time. Is that all the boys in the band together? You all met or went to school?
Originally, there were three original founding members that we all went to high school together, and then a guy I used to play. I studied piano and jazz and all this stuff at university, so we would do gigs whilst I was pretty young, actually during school. And then that was the crux of Kingswood. So three of us had known each other for a very long time, and then of course they go off and have responsible lives and procreate and make other humans, and that doesn't gel well with like 3 months European tours and 100 shows runs around Australia.
Yeah, it makes it hard.
So we've definitely had to adapt a little bit and create a little revolving door system. But we're very much of the mentality that when you come into the fold, you just sort of become part of like the madness in the family. And that's kind of where we're at now. We've got a whole bunch of a great cast, I'd call it, of interchangeable, wonderful musicians. So with Ferg and I, of course, awesome. being the terrible two.
Yeah. the tip of this. What do they used to call the two guys at Aerosmith? The Toxic Twins.
Yeah. That's fortuitous. We should take that on because they're hanging up the hat. So Ferg, we've got to.
When did this go out?
Last tour, mate.
You're kidding me?
Last tour ever.
Wow, we opened for Aerosmith here in Melbourne one time.
Yeah, no. So tell us a bit about that because you also toured, did some of the AC/DC, yeah?
We did. We spent more time with Steven Tyler on one night in Melbourne than we did doing 8 weeks with AC/DC. we basically had a meet and greet with them, and we never saw them again.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, but that's like what? As if, mate, they've been rocking and rolling for like what, 50 years? As if they want to hang out with us. Who could be fucked?
Yeah,
I don't want to hang out with
Hang on a minute. I could.
So Steven Tyler, though.
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry, I'll Nollsie hang out with you boys. Don't worry about that. I think you may have a couple of times in the past.
Yeah, but Steven, in fact, like, it was amazing. I don't know if he literally took the effort to look up our song and learn about us, or he just got told by his PA before he came down. But even if that's the case, he didn't need to do it. But he bursts into our
absolutely.
Burst into our dressing room being like, Kingswood, Ohio, I love that song. What's going on? Hey, you cut your hair. Why'd you cut your hair, you dickhead? Like,
that's great.
Full of energy. Showing us photos on an iPad of last night's show. Like, look at me on here. Look at me standing on the piano. Like, he's so
that's great. I did a show with them in Sydney years ago. They came on there was Every Man Their Dog on the bill. It was the craziest festival. I think it was, I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, there was Billy Joel,
the one out
bloody
Homebush.
Everyone. Sorry?
That's the one out at Homebush.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy, that one. But he smashed it. He was so good. He's got such a range, that guy too. His voice is crazy, and just still be smashing it like he does is unbelievable. After what he's probably ingested and whatnot over the years.
Yeah. How many times you've heard him say like, "Fuck, I've snorted half Peru," and you're like, "All right, mate, good on you."
Okay, I think I'll take his word for it, but I think he could be onto something.
I'll tell you what though, the thing to learn from just darting back to AC/DC, and this is like such a great technique to get us out of the green room and to not make it awkward. Brian comes around and he goes like calls over the tour manager. Goes, yeah, organise the lunch with the boys. We'll do a lunch and like he's like, see ya. And they get us out of the room, and obviously you never hear from them again. But it's such a good technique to get people out of the green room.
Yeah, yeah, that's gold. That's happened to me a couple of times. I think.
I would say there was a really great little moment that I thought was beautiful on the tour where I was walking past their dressing room halfway through their show just to get some more drinks from ours, and Angus's wife is standing there blow drying his hat.
Yeah.
From the first half of the show. And I was like, nothing's changed for this band in all these years. It's the same desk that they, from the pubs. And his wife's still drying off his hat from the first half of the show. Like, she doesn't need to do that. It was kind of beautiful. Great. But they're amazing. They own everything. And you can put that show in the middle of the desert. They don't use any power off the grid.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
it's all generators. The cables are like the current that's going through the cables when they start launching the last show. Like the cables physically jump because they're pulling that much current. It's crazy. It's wild.
That's unreal, isn't it? Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I toured with Live early in the piece, and cool. A couple of people who sort of knew me. One bloke in particular, he could talk his way into anywhere. So all of a sudden, we're backstage at the Palladium or something in Melbourne, I think it was, and he turned up. I said, "How did you get in here?" And he said, "Oh, they let me in." I don't no idea how that happened. He must have had some good sweet talking techniques, but because the green rooms back there were so small, there was a couple of us couldn't fit in the room, so we were standing in the hallway. Anyway, the boys had to walk sort of through everyone in the hallway to get to the stage. So next thing we get all hauled in front of the tour manager and they earmark our lanyards so that they make sure we're not using it twice or anything like that. No, I just finished 98 shows or something across the country, and I wasn't real keen on doing any more anyway. But as it turned out, they made it worthwhile sort of thing. So we sort of had the shits a little bit about it, and so I was just jumping out on the big speakers and all that. And next thing I went and watched, because we love Live, man. We grew up on them and knew all their songs, So we go out and watch them every night. Next thing, Ed Kowalczyk's out on the big boxes where I was about 40 minutes before that. And so I reckon he must have caught a bit of our show. But we sort of it was the second last night in Adelaide, and then my brother missed the flight over to Perth for the last show, and everyone was just sleeping on the floor of the plane. I think we had 100 flaming Lamborghinis or something lined up at the bar the night before. Anyway, we went on stage and then did our show, and it was a bit of a heartbreak for us because, especially me and my two brothers, because we were avid Live fans. I loved their first album and everything before they made it big and all that sort of thing. So we're really disappointed that it sort of had been a bit sour, And when we got back to our green room, there's two full litre bottles of Grey Goose with the loveliest card from the guys, and they all signed it. It was really nice, So we sort of, in true rock and roll fashion, we sculled one of the bottles in the half an hour before they went on after we came off. So as they walked past, we sort of give them a big cheer and that, and shook everyone's hand, and away they went. But it all turned out for the best. But it was pretty crazy sort of situation. I thought, here we go, we've pissed them off pretty well on the first night.
We did a tour with Grinspoon, and after the first show, they'd all left their dressing room and they left 2 bottles of Grey Goose. And so we went and pinched them because we just thought, well, they're not drinking
as you do.
And then AP, the tour manager, just rings us and goes, "Do you have the Grey Goose?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Please bring it to our hotel right now." And so we thought we pissed them off on the first night. We were like, we thought it was just venue leftovers, and they're like, "What's venue leftovers?" Yeah. And so we're all good buddies now.
To this day, you'll run into Phil, Pat, or Joe, whoever, and they just go, venue leftovers. It's like that big joke with us. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, that's a damn sight better than the support drinking it while you're on, because that's another big. That happens a fair bit too, I'll tell you.
It happens to us all the time, and I actually love it. I just think fucking good on them, man. If you're bold enough to go in there, fucking do it.
Yeah.
That's what we used to do. It's the same thing. It's like a rite of passage.
We had a guy from Mum's Favourite, Sal.
Yeah.
One of the bands in Adelaide.
This kid was hilarious.
We hadn't met him or anything, and he just walks into our green room. I think he like walked up and took a beer out, sneezed, and then just left. And we were just like, "Hello." it was the weirdest little moment, but that was really sweet. But it was quite funny.
Yeah, that's gold. That's gold.
Just going back to the tour bus, I read somewhere that you guys are trying to get in the Guinness Book of Records with your bus. What's that all about?
Have you got a contact, Tim? Have you got a contact there?
I don't. Have you made the Guinness Book of Records yet? Are you still trying?
Well, we don't. We're just sort of claiming that that it's the biggest tour in Australian history, and just wait for someone to be like, "Oh, actually."
No, there
were no records.
Nollsie just said he's done 98 shows that year. It's pretty much the same size.
Yeah. And then there's like cover bands who are like, well, actually, I play like 210 nights of the year. And you're like, well, yeah, but it's a bit different. And
not a tour.
Same venue 200 times. It's not the same.
We're just claiming it until, who's going to – there's no records for it. But, yeah, Guinness Book of World Records, we should probably try and do that. Oh, well.
Yeah, ring them up, mate. If no one claims it, go if you like. They're bad luck.
See if we get a contact for you.
Good luck trying to beat it.
Yeah, I think the hardest I did was 45 shows in 48 days. I think we did.
Oh, that's
that was nasty.
Yeah, the toughest part of this tour was we all got pretty crook in South WA, and we had, I think, 3 weekends in a row of 5 shows straight. So that's 15 shows in 19 days.
Yeah, ouch.
We were all ill, and it was a pretty tough couple of weeks. But we never even thought to not do a show. We'd lift,
that's right. Oh, you always find something, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you drive the bus all the way up to Broome as well?
No, we didn't. So it needed to go to the doctor after the Tamworth show, and so we decided. That's a big drive. Yeah, so we decided to just leave it at it was getting a service in Sydney, and then we flew over. I think driving the bus over to WA is probably not smart anyway. There's a reason there's no Carlton draft in WA and no Swan draft here.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to ship it.
No, when you said Broome, I went, crikey, that's a big drive. I'm thinking, it'll take you half the year to get there.
Yeah,
we did a lot of driving. We did about 77 shows in it, and then of course through stupid means, Ferg is very much hiding the truth. We blew it up because we attempted, under the instruction of what we thought were professional people, to make modifications, but they weren't professional people, Nollsie.
Yeah,
They weren't to be listened to.
They weren't to be listened to.
If you're curious, this air conditioner here went in when it was very hot, and we realised we needed an extra one. And that does such a good job that we wanted to get rid of the old bus aircon that was leaking as well. So we just wanted to rip it out and then like put a deck up there or something. So we ripped it out, and the professional said that it's all tied off and all good to go, but there's a pipe running from the engine, from the water tank up to the which was left open. So when we drove, it all spurred out.
The water tank.
That's great. So you just kept pumping in there.
Yeah.
No, there's a secondary water pump that for some reason turns on at intermittent times that filters the water through the old air conditioner. For no reason, other than probably when you're using it. And that secondary water pump turned on like 2.5 hours into this drive.
Yep.
And it shot the water out so quickly that my temperature gauge didn't change until it was steamed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was nothing there to even measure. So it's sitting straight, and then all of a sudden the engine's exploded and the thing just goes. And I was like, wow.
What just happened?
Yeah, it was really bad.
I was asleep in my bed at the time. And I was just bad. Something bad's happened.
But credit to you to
We found
You
a new
couldn't
engine,
choose to
mate.
get up and
Out of
keep
Cowra
going.
Truck
Did you?
Wreckers.
Yeah, sweet.
It was
Truck
destined.
Wreckers. Shout out to Cowra Truck Wreckers.
Yeah.
There you go. It was destined
will.
for us. I can't
Yeah,
believe they
yeah,
even had one of these engines. It's an old Mercedes engine from the late 70s, and it was out of a grain hauler that is done. It's not been used for like what the purpose built for what those engines are purpose built for. Like they're obviously done to do like a minimum of 1 million Ks. So this thing is like, it's the dream. It's like as new as you can imagine from the late 70s, and now is the new heart of the bus. So
yeah, awesome.
There you go.
There you go. That's awesome. So guys, what's it? Is it a bit of follow-up single off the album? How many are you going for? Are you going for a couple or more? Or
We've got to finish off the next record, so we've got sort of a lot of it done. And so we'll probably put out a new single toward the end of the year.
Yep.
I think we're looking at sort of November, but we'll see how we go. We've got a few months before we get to Europe to finish off the record. So that's a super exciting part of what we do, as you know. And so pretty excited to get in the studio and see what we can come up with, and finish off and make another record that we'll put out next year and do it all again. Maybe not 100 in some place, but
we'll do 150.
There we go. Do 150.
That's 200 and that's it. All right, 210.
200 declare.
300 and that's it. So guys, whilst on tour, do you ride on the bus as well, or do you strictly separate your touring from your riding?
I thought we would. I thought that it was a really good opportunity, spending so much time together and on the bus, that we would finish with a big cachet of new songs. But we didn't sort of write together. And personally, Al will have his own answer. I sort of took a lot of any kind of inspiration that would come. You take sort of notes and ideas, and I've got little rough things down, but certainly not as much as I thought I or we would. Al, how did you go? Were you gathering? I call it the gathering stage.
I find it very difficult when you're like so focused on such a mammoth task.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah,
it's so involved, and you're like half the time you're trying to like be physically capable, and not even physically capable, like emotionally capable, like whatever character is that you have to evoke on stage to like make it. Someone's paid $40 to see, and you don't want to get out there with like half-heartedly, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you feel like 6 shows in and your body's fighting something off, or someone's pissed you off or something, you really have to work on like adjusting your mindset to go like, all right, I'm going to give it all on the stage. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of energy and a lot of psychological effort, and that leaves no space for me. But having said that, most of my writing I do in any time I've ever written anything good, I've never expected it, and it's like in the shower, or like I'll be walking somewhere, and then it's like bam. If I sit down in a room, I can make you a song. It's like outside of Kingswood, I write and record and produce for loads of people, and I can do it functionally, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can whip out a song for you every single day. Is it going to be magic? Probably not. I reckon I've probably only written like 3 magic songs in my whole life.
Yeah.
I would never sit down with no idea or anything and just be like, okay, I'm going to try and write a song now. There's no way I would ever do that. It's like you want something to come to you, and then if you follow John Lennon's method, he's like, stop everything and finish the song right there and then. Because if you just get the idea down and then return to it, you're not in that same headspace.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I always do that, but that's what I think is the best advice, is like when the inspirations come, you should sort of stop everything and at least finish a version of the song.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, every song deserves to be finished. Someone told me one time too, because you can sort of be mucking around with one and do little bits here and little bits there, but it sort of ends up being a never-ending story. You sort of I've still got to finish that one. But if you just knock them out and you finish it, then you move on to the next one.
Yeah. So on the road, when we're sort of doing so much and traveling, and it's hard to be in that space where you can have nothing going on in your head to allow
to allow stuff to come in.
Yeah.
I always felt like touring, you got so much on your plate. You want to really hope you do a good show. You're really hoping the people, get their money's worth and really go away with it with fondness for you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you sort of and sort of when because I do riding trips over the States and that sort of stuff, but when you're in that riding phase and you're not worried about shows, you can be sitting at a cafe and hear someone say something behind you and you go like, wow, that's a cool idea. You know what I mean? But when you're just doing
exactly,
shows and you're on the road, you're thinking about the show that night, you're thinking about, the logistics that are going to go into getting there and if sound check's going to go good or bad or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's really hard to sort of join them together. So I just used to go, no, we'll just get this done and then we'll see what happens later on,
It makes the most, like some people might have the ability to, like, that they're prolific and it's like maybe it's their outlet so they can, it's almost like a relief to like get their ideas down.
Yeah.
I think all three of us, I think all three of us are very similar though, where from what we're saying that I like to submit myself into a particular mindset so I can absorb exactly like you were saying, Nollsie, absorb things around me or observe things or feel inspired by like humanity rather than, I don't know. I don't have that thing where if I'm committed to something, like my brain goes, "Oh, this is a really good time to be creative."
No, mate, absolutely.
There was an interview with McCartney, and they were like talking about songwriting, and the interviewer was like, "Well, can you write a song for us right now? Like, pick up the guitar and write a song." And he's like, "Yeah, I can. It's going to be shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful. Like, don't expect I'm just going to write an amazing Paul McCartney song now. It doesn't work like that."
No, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. No, I always, because I just think you let go of the concentration of trying to juggle everything, and then you just start listening. And when you start listening, your ears are open for ideas to flow in as well as sounds and
Alex,
statements.
Talking the other day about, and a lot of people sort of have a similar story of, like, let's say I think it was Golden. You feel like you didn't even write it. Like it kind of just came to you and you just put it down, but you kind of woke up with it, or you know, you're just the vessel for that song.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah,
it's like dialing into a radio frequency, and all of a sudden you hear this song, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll pinch that." You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like scanning on the old AM, but like a lot of people talk about that mystically, like it's this magic thing that happens. Like you go, you open up your mind and your spirit,
your chakra.
Right. It's like you align and it comes to you. And I think it's more something to do with when you're, like you were saying, Nollsie, when you commit to being open to things as far as like perception's concerned. I don't mean like your heart state and all that, like the kooky. Don't get me wrong, there's magic to that stuff as well. I'm not discounting that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something more like if you're more open to your existence and your being and everything around you and whatever, all these things that you do collect without knowing, all your experiences in life and your memories and your smells and your family and where you've been and how you see things will align in a way that they present to you in an idea that feels like it's not yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you are open and you go, oh, fuck. And it's an accumulation of like all these wonderful things that you're trying to code in a creative way. And when for some reason, if you're in the right place and you've got a good focus and you are open to being creative or allowing thoughts to arrange themselves creatively, they'll present in a way that feels magical. I'm not trying to demystify the whole thing, right? There's an element of it that's like just chance and whatever fucking brain cells are going on and firing at the right time. And maybe like the day you had or the way the sun sets informs that. So there's obviously a whole bunch of things that align in like a series of dominoes to give you this song. But it's not like, as much as it feels like it's magical, I think it's more something to do with that.
Yeah, you've sort of premeditated in your own subconscious a little bit without even knowing that sort of thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
And of course, there is an element that is magical. Of course. Like the fact that even takes place is fucking magical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't think it's like, oh, spirit came down and gifted me this song. And
that's right. Yeah. No, absolutely. So, guys, what's next for here in Australia? Got any big shows coming up or festivals that anybody out there can go and see you guys?
We're doing a V8 Supercars weekend in Adelaide. at the bend.
Cool, that's fun.
Which will be exciting. And then we're doing a festival up in Kick-Ass Camping Fire and Music Festival, I think it's called, which will be cool. Up in I think Dragon's playing that actually, which will be cool.
Yeah, they're cool. I did a gig with them a couple of weeks ago, and
really?
it was sensational. Yeah, because they tour so much as well.
Yeah,
I've known Mark since Idol. He was a bit of a backup singer in that on Idol as well. So he's sort of been a coach for us in that as well. So I sort of knew him from way back then, and then he obviously took over. Mark Williams obviously took over the lead singing in Dragon, you know. But every time I'd sort of see him, it's just so cooked. They just work so hard, and there's so many shows, you know. His voice, but the other night he sings great every time. It's just his talking voice after it. You can feel, you can hear that he's been whipping it. You know what I mean? But they were just fantastic the other night. You know what I mean? It's so many hits, mate. It's when you watch a band like that, you realize, you know, apart from the big ones that, you know, every cover band's playing or whatever else, you hear ones that you haven't heard for years and go, damn, that was a good song. I went and watched the Angels here not that long ago, and I took my young bloke because he's been playing lots of guitars. So I said, mate, you want to go and watch a guitar band? Let's go and watch these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's unreal.
Absolutely.
When we looked at the bill, we pumped some Dragon, and I had that thing of like, oh, this song's them. Oh, this song's them. Like so many.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, I toured with Brian Adams one time, and we went out and watched his show after, and just so many songs. You went like, oh, I remember this. That was on that movie. That was on that movie. This is, you know what I mean? That was a great song. It was just one after the other. It was crazy.
So good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then we'll probably come back after Europe and do a whole bunch more Aussie shows and maybe drop a single and see how this album goes. We might that album that is almost finished. We might even hold off on and write a whole other album. But there's a big discussion there that we've got to get our heads around.
Yeah. So you're going to write a song about the bus?
Probably. Who knows? Yeah.
If you're right.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, Alex, go, mate.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying, with so much being in the bus, surely would inspire you for however 6 months. You know what I mean?
It's
funny you say that. I was listening to, I don't know if you're familiar with Coulter Wall. He's like a Canadian cowboy that writes like really traditional sort of almost like Merle Haggard prairie songs. And the song, it's like the whole time it sounds like he's speaking about a woman he loves, but then you realize it's his guitar that he's talking about.
Yeah, right. Cool.
The whole time.
That's
like
cool.
She sings true in bars and, you know, in ballrooms and this and that. And the other. There's like earns her keep and all this sort of shit. And then all of a sudden, you know.
That's great. Yeah, that's cool.
It's a really nice way to spin things, like personify them. So maybe, you know, and we do like
there's a song in that.
We personified our like we call her Peggy. After Peggy Sue, after the Buddy Holly thing, right? So so there's definitely a character in Peggy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I reckon, you know, there'd be some stories that would nearly write themselves, I'd say, after some big nights in there, eh?
Yeah, I reckon you're probably right there, Nollsie.
Guys, well, listen, it was fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And anybody out there, I've known these guys for a while. They're absolutely champion blokes. And, you know, what it's all about to be an Australian touring rock band. I'm very proud of you, boys. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, mate. Means a lot. Thank you.
Wish you all the very, very best with going overseas and the next album and everything. But you're kicking butt, so I'm really, really happy for you.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Absolutely,
Thanks for having us, boys.
No worries, guys. You go out on a bang, guys, and smash that last show out.
That's it,
awesome.
Mate.
Thanks, guys.
Mate, we'll be blasting lift, don't you worry.
I love it. Well, I'm looking forward to catching up somewhere down the track, boys, but I hope it's soon. That'd be great.
Beautiful.
Awesome. See you soon.
Right, guys. No worries. Take care, eh?
See you, boys.
All right. Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
See you. Thank you.
Good on you guys. That's Kingswood, guys. So make sure you get around the boys. They're absolute champions and living life to the fullest. Absolutely awesome.
Check out that album Home.
Check out their album Home.
Streaming platforms.
All of their other stuff has been fantastic as well. They thoroughly deserve everything they've achieved. They're really good fellas and great musicians. So, guys, thank you. Thanks to everyone once again for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please like and follow this podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and give the show a rating. I've heard it helps. Anyway, guys, look forward to your company next time. Thank you so much.